I think it's a very important day, as you say, International Day for Persons with Disabilities, and this is a shining example of what's possible when you have the right support in place from both the government and from the private sector and from NGOs. So I think this shows what can be done. Here we have children who are learning in a safe environment. There's also, we've seen a fashion show today, an inclusive fashion show. That's with the support of the private sector, because the clothes that are being made in this school for children with disabilities are on sale in Unimart. So there's a link to the outside world. And I think that, with the right policy support from the government as well, as you know, Bangladesh was one of the first to ratify the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. With all these factors in play, there's so much that's being done here in Bangladesh, and I think it's a very good example to the rest of the world as to how you can, with will and funds and policy support, you can really achieve something. I mean, we have programs that include persons with disabilities within their remit, but I have to say there's a lot going on that's homegrown in Bangladesh. I was also in Shatkhira to visit one of the projects for children with disabilities, which is run by the same organisation. So it is happening around Bangladesh. I think it's important for all international partners, when they design programs, to build in the mainstream, if you like, the rights of persons with disabilities, because they form an important part of society. We try to do that in our programs, and I'm very pleased that we can help disadvantaged groups in this country in cooperation with the government, civil society, and indeed, as I said, the private sector. I think you hit the nail on the head in the sense that all countries have to get the policy right, and I have to say in some European countries there's been shifts in both directions, sometimes shifts in including children with disabilities in mainstream schools or having separate facilities, and I think there's place for different approaches. And I have seen in Bangladesh an inclusive approach in some schools where they've included children with disabilities, so it's definitely happening here as part of the different ways of doing things. But I just think it's important that the funding is there, of course, and the policy support and the practical support, because of course children with disabilities who are also from disadvantaged backgrounds, have to think about how about the parents who have to go to work, how do they make sure the child is looked after, and that's why a centre like this is very important, because it also provides respite care for children so that parents can also have some time to do the other things they have to do in their life, and that's very important, I think.